How hard can a horn driver fight for a 5-star review? 30 million sports cars are used to solicit customers, and they can also meet all the needs of passengers. Lin Yi is checking orders near him. Unexpectedly, the passenger's phone call came in directly. After connecting the phone, the other party asked about Lin Yi's age. Such a strange request. Lin Yi also encountered it for the first time. When he said he was 24 years old, the girl said happily, "Can you please do me a favor? Pretend to be my boyfriend and give you a 5-star review afterwards, as long as there is a good review. Pretending to be a boyfriend is nothing. Follow the address on the order and knock on the door." I didn't expect the person who opened the door to be a genuine beautiful girl, Xia Xinyu, who is a popular anchor. Before the two of them could say more than half a sentence, Xia Xinyu pushed Lin Yi into the house. Lin Yi could only say hello to his aunt, said one question after another, and almost asked Lin Yi's birthday, until Lin Yi talked about his profession, the driver of the horn platform. Suddenly the uncle and aunt felt speechless. Sensing that things were not good, Xia Xinyu hurriedly rushed forward to explain. "In fact, the driver is also quite profitable now, and he bought me all my jewelry." All the explanations are so false to the ears, Xia Xinyu had no choice but to urge them to go out to the party as soon as possible. "As long as you don't continue on the topic of your career, you can talk about anything you want. Why don't you let Lin Yi send you over?" The biggest disadvantage of sports cars is that there are too few seats. Lin Yi scratched his head, a little embarrassed. It was better for his uncle and had to call another car. After thinking about it for a long time, they couldn't think that Lin Yi was driving a sports car, but kept guessing in their minds whether it was Modi. The old couple, who were very dissatisfied, complained all the way and walked all the way to the location of the parking lot. Look at Xia Xinyu with an innocent face. Should this kid bow his daughter's head? Actually found a motorcycle driver as a boyfriend. Of course, the broken thoughts were all heard by Lin Yi, and the best way to thwart rumors is to get your car keys. The door opened in response to the sound. Like an uncle's jaw dropped in shock. The Modi driver has been transformed into a supercar driver. Even Xia Xinyu didn't expect that the driver you randomly selected would actually drive a supercar to solicit customers. The old couple, who smiled instantly, couldn't take care of their daughter, who was still in a daze. One push and a shove pushed her into the car. Although people are sitting in the car, everything that happens in front of them is like a dream. She is very professional, and she also proposed to broadcast live in the car for a while. These small requirements are inconsequential to Lin Yi, as long as there is a 5-star review. Everything else is easy to say. Pick up your phone and start broadcasting smoothly, facing the camera. Xia Xinyu seemed to be a different person, looking at the barrage that kept swiping the screen on the screen. They were all talking about Pagani's expensiveness and what the anchor's identity was. Accidentally saw the message on the barrage. Xia Xinyu also smiled slightly. "This is today's horn car. If you want to sell meat, it depends on whether the driver brother is willing or not. All the way to Times Square. It is full of people, and it is worthy of being the most luxurious shopping mall in the city center." Xia Xinyu, who completed the live broadcast, also gave 5-star praise as agreed. The task was finally completed, and Lane Wei also appeared with a reward. Congratulations to the master for obtaining 200,000 proficiency points, rewarding a Shanghai International Circuit and master-level driving skills. Ling Wei right on Lin Yi's lap as she spoke, so that he didn't hear the content of the reward at all. But the mission is done, and it's time to relax. He stopped Xia Xinyu and wanted to go in with her for a walk. Come to the Fruit mobile phone store in the center of the mall, where all the electronic products are expensive. Lin Yi looked around, completely ignoring Xia Xinyu, who was still live broadcasting. I picked a random pass, and finally chose a newly released Fruit 100 mobile phone. Hearing that Lin Yi was going to buy it in the store, Xia Xinyu hurriedly rushed forward. "Brother Yi, do you want to go to the internet to take a look? It's a lot cheaper than the store." Lin Yi said that he had come all the time, and there was no need for that. After speaking, he gently touched Xia Xinyu's hair. While the two were talking, the clerk had already wrapped the phone and suggested that he buy a phone case. After all, it would not be good if it was broken, Lin Yi said while taking the phone. "I don't really like to wear condoms and I don't feel well." The clerk also agreed with Lin Yi's idea. "Sir, pick a style you like." Lin Yi spread out his palms and said that you misunderstood what I meant. I'm going to buy a few more phones, and if they break, I'll just replace them with new ones. All 5 colors of the phone, and this new all-in-one computer, which also helped me pack 20 units. The consumption method of being more local tyrants shocked Xia Xinyu again, and also shocked all the viewers in the live broadcast room. Even the popularity of the live broadcast room has increased to 5 million. And sure enough, showing off wealth is the king of short videos. As soon as Lin Yi, who finished shopping, walked out of the store, Xinyu couldn't wait to catch up. Brother Yi, do you have anything else you want to buy? Holding the newly bought mobile phone, Lin Yi couldn't remember what else he needed for a while. I turned my head and saw that the shop next door was selling watches, so I might as well buy a watch. This brand of watches can easily be in the hundreds of thousands. Xinyu gushed to the audience in the live broadcast room. I noticed that someone had entered the store, but the store manager didn't want to receive it at all. The female anchor looked like she was here to show off her wealth. Sure enough, Xinyu, who entered the store, filmed everywhere without the slightest intention of buying. The manager is still admiring his skills in recognizing people. After all, we are Jiangxi Danton. Except for the super rich, ordinary small anchors can't afford it. When Xinyu looked at the delicate and dazzling watches of various colors on the display case, he only felt that the down payment of the house was placed on the counter. There is also a price of hundreds of thousands. Xinyu's face suddenly became a little ugly, but Lin Yi didn't think about it that much. He pointed to a watch and asked the clerk to take it out for him. When the manager saw that it was an inconspicuous man who wanted to buy a watch, he instantly raised the threshold, and he had to pay before he could read the watch. The unprecedented sales method made Xinyu understand that this was the manager deliberately making things difficult for them. At this moment, a local boss also walked into the store with his little wife, looked at the big gold chain around the neck of the soil boss, and the dress of the little wife behind him. Lin Yi doesn't have to think about it. He knows that one bed can't sleep with the kinds of people. On the other hand, the manager just now leaned in with a flattering face, also took out the hottest big gold watch at the moment and tried it on for the soil boss. But the little wife was not in a hurry, and in a very exaggerated tone, she asked the boss behind her for a gold watch as a birthday gift. The manager's operation of turning his face faster than turning a book made Lin Yi and Xinyu stunned. The audience in the live broadcast room also began to coax. Jiangxi Danton didn't just buy it. Don't be ashamed. Lin Yi, who was very angry in his heart, rushed directly to ask for an explanation. But the manager is still that snobbish, indicates that the service is decided according to the customer level. And I hope you can understand. To put it bluntly, it means that the dog's eyes look down on people and see people on the plate. The naked ridicule made the manager's face change and change. Xinyu appeared again to play a round game. These people who sell luxury goods are so snobbish. You must not be angry. The manager didn't pretend anymore, and there was a showdown. The two of you are doing live broadcasts here, and you can let you walk into the store, which is to give you face. The two sides were in a lot of trouble, and Xinyu didn't want the audience to see her embarrassing scene, so she wanted to drag Lin Yi to leave quickly. Lin Yi, who was furious, didn't care about which brand of watch was sold opposite the store. I rushed in, found the clerk, and asked to buy a watch without saying a word. But it was the first time he had come to this kind of place, and he didn't expect Xinyu to come for the first time. Two of them were blindsided, and they could only pin their hopes on a barrage in the live broadcast room. But the message on the barrage, in addition to saying that he pretended to be a local tyrant, that is, he slapped his swollen face and became fat, Xinyu hurriedly explained. Brother Yi, don't be angry. I'll kick these people out of the live broadcast room now. But Lin Yi didn't care about these gossips at all. He decided to buy the 175th anniversary model mentioned on the barrage. Hearing this watch, several salespeople instantly showed frightened looks. Lin Yi didn't realize the seriousness of the matter, but took out his wallet in a chic manner. Is there anything you can't sell about this watch? The manager saw that this kid actually had such strength, hurriedly rushed forward and said that this watch was going to be transferred from Europe, and it would be delivered directly to your home when the time came. Xinyu asked with some doubts. Only then did I know that there are only 6 pieces of this watch in the world, which is very precious, and this anniversary edition of the watch costs a full 10 million. The other clerks, who got the news, didn't care that they were still at work, and they all gathered around to see who was so rich. When Jiangxi Danton's manager, he saw Lin Yi's figure walking out of the store, I just feel that my intestines are repentant. Lin Yi, who consumed 10 million again, became high-spirited. Of course, the manager of Vatcher and Egg didn't want to miss this big customer, so he hurriedly stepped forward to try to win it over. Lin Yi's face instantly became gloomy. I'm afraid that my poor dick can't reach your service level. The manager knew he was still angry, but the opportunity is so wonderful. Once you miss it, you will come back. She slapped herself with remorse, blaming this mouth, offending the customers, and losing how much commission and bonus she had to lose. After leaving them all, Lin Yi then took out a mobile phone from his pocket. He was going to give it to Xia Xingyu. "Excuse me, I've been shopping with me for so long, so let's take this phone as a thank you gift." Xia Xingyu accepted it directly without prevarication. After all, today's shopping trip is really cool. Looking at the back of Lin Yi driving away, Xia Xingyu was still fantasizing about how nice it would be if such a rich person was her boyfriend. Lin Yi, who left them all, came to the Zhonghai International Circuit that Lin Wei talked about. "I just wanted to go in and have a visit, but I was told by the front desk that there were distinguished guests today, so it was not open to the public." Lin Yi, who was closed, did not refute, but directly proposed to have an interview with the manager. The young lady at the front desk was full of smiles, not knowing that the man in front of her would be her big boss in the future. Lin Yi was talking, and the door was suddenly pushed open. A man with an unkind face also walked in. His Qin Han, who chartered the venue today. In order to avoid disputes, the young lady at the front desk had to take Lin Yi to the manager's room in the back. Qin Han's arrogance made Lin Yi curious. Why should the entire circuit be closed for him alone? The young lady at the front desk only said that Qin Han was not easy to mess with, and Lin Yi didn't wait to ask too much, and went to the manager's room. When the manager saw Lin Yi coming, he hurriedly asked the young lady just now to serve tea and pour water, but she suddenly heard an unfamiliar title. "Let's Mr. Lin, isn't he a customer?" The manager said that our race and track has been wholly owned by Mr. Lin, and this place will be surnamed Lin in the future. As he spoke, the manager took out the project information of the racing track one by one. Lin Yi didn't even look at it, so he said that everything was as usual. "Why don't you take a stroll around the racetrack?" The manager suggested on the side that he would like to find a car and drive to laps for you. It's a pity not to experience it. At this time, on the field, the two cars were speeding and did not give in to each other. Seeing the manager watching the play on the sidelines, a sports car stopped. The person who got out of the car was none other than Qin Han. He scolded the manager for his inaction, but the manager introduced Lin Yi's identity, the only owner of the racing track, who was inspecting his own industry. As soon as these words came out, everyone was stunned. He was so young that he could buy this racetrack. The presence of these people really affects their mood. Lin Yi decisively ordered the eviction of customers and asked the manager to drive these people away. Qin Han knew that the man in front of him was not easy to mess with, so he took out a pack of cigarettes. Lin Yi was not polite and smoked one casually. Qin Han said that he wanted to compete with him, and only those who won could continue to play here. Lin Yi lit a cigarette and took the battle letter. "It's just a lapse, and my hands are itchy anyway." Qin Han, who was a villain, hurriedly looked around for Lin Yi's car until Pagani made its debut. The perfect streamlined body made Qin Han's face instantly ugly. "My car should be more expensive than yours." "Right. Or do you think I'm bullying you with this car?" Qin Han said with a huff. "That's not true. It's just that my car cost 3 million modifications, and in terms of performance, it definitely doesn't lose to you." Big talk is empty talk after all, and everything is true in the game. Two sports cars, one black and one white, are already in place on the track. A beautiful and sexy beauty also picked up the flag and prepared to count down. At the sound of an order, the throttle was pressed to the bottom, and the tires made a screeching sound. In just a second, Lin Yi's black Pagani rushed out, leaving Qin Han behind. Even a professional racer would not dare to enter a corner at this speed. If you are not careful, the car will be destroyed and people will die. But Lin Yi disappointed them again. Not only did he lead the way, but he didn't even slow down when he entered the corner. Such crazy racing skills made the crowd of onlookers sigh. This man is an absolute lunatic, and the game was declared over in just a few seconds. Sure enough, it was Lin Yi who won. The beautiful woman also shouted beside her. The boss won, and it drove to handsome. The cool and superb driving skills not only conquered the Beauties, but also conquered the Qin and Han dynasties. He humbly asked Lin Yi for advice on how to maintain high speed when entering corners. Lin Yi did not hide his selfishness and taught him all the skills. Qin Han gave a thumbs up directly after hearing this. The master is really a master. "I can add you a wicket and take me with me in the future." Successfully harvested a little fan brother. Lin Yi's trip was really not in vain. At this moment, a new order came from the platform. Lin Yi could only say goodbye to the manager, and by the way, invited Qin Han to come back to play in the future. However, Qin Han was a little curious. What was so urgent about this big boss? Lin Yi did not shy away from saying that he was the driver of the horn platform, and remembered to contact me if he needed a car. Of the way, I came to the big villa of Ji Tianyan's family. It's just that Lin Yi came too quickly, and Ji Tianyan was not ready to go out at this time. But in the next second, a finger gently touched her red lips. "Don't be too quick, man. They are all adults. How could Ji Tianyan not understand the meaning of his words? Ashamed, she hurriedly covered her mouth. I was serious. You come in and wait for me a little bit. There are computers over there where you can play games or watch movies. With a curious heart, Lin Yi wanted to see what good things were stored in Ji Tianyan's computer. And Ji Tianyan, who was blowing his hair, heard Lin Yi say that there was a new email in the mailbox. So he told him that it should be a business email. No matter how Lin Yi looks at it, he feels that the content of the email in front of him does not look like a business email. After a closer look, I found that it was the shipping information of online shopping. The 360 black lace lingerie you purchased has been shipped. Ji Tianyan didn't care about his wet hair and hurriedly rushed out of the bathroom. A dodge is right in front of the computer screen. All my little privacy has been seen. Ji Tianyan was only busy covering the screen, forgetting that there was still water under his feet. One accidentally fell directly to the ground. At the last moment, Lin Yi made a decisive move and also rushed towards Ji Tianyan. But after all, it was a step too late. Not only did she not hug her, but she also ripped off her bath towel. When Ji Tianyan regained his balance, he realized that he was no longer an inch in the first second. Lin Yi on the other side was panicked and wanted to put the bath towel back on Ji Tianyan's body. The two of you pushed me, and Ji Tianyan's perfect figure came into view again. Lin Yi was unfortunate and had another nosebleed. Ji Tianyan, who came back to his senses, could only shout wildly, I was innocent all my life, but I didn't expect to be seen by others. I could only run back to the bathroom desperately, still shouting, how will I see people in the future? When Ji Tianyan came out of the bathroom again, he had already changed into a dress, and his figure was even sexier. Participating in a class reunion must kill the audience. Then he looked at Ji Tianyan with an obscene expression. With this figure and this outfit, it is enough to participate in the beauty pageant. And this dress seems to be very suitable for squats. Speaking of squats, Ji Tianyan's face turned crimson again. Isn't it just 9 squats? I haven't forgotten. With that, she asked Lin Yi to close the curtains, and she would show Lin Yi now. In this case, hesitating for half a second is a great insult to one's gender. Lin Yi closed the curtains. The big horn leaned back on the sofa and said to Ji Tianyan, I'm ready. You can start at any time. Ji Tianyan didn't talk nonsense, and his white heels hit the floor. The show officially began. The convex and backward figure, coupled with a very feminine writhing. Sure enough, it's a visual feast. Looking longitudinally, there are mountains and mountains. This woman should only be in heaven, and the world can get a few times. After dancing the song, Ji Tianyan was already tired and out of breath. The promise has been fulfilled, and now it is time to set off for Zhongtong Hailuwei. At this moment, I don't know what Lin Yi has done. I actually rushed straight into the bathroom. It wasn't until half an hour later that Lin Yi walked out of the bathroom refreshed. But as soon as the two arrived at the door, Lin Yi suddenly stopped. Ji Tianyan hurriedly asked the reason. It turned out that he had met an acquaintance. Ji Tianyan was a little surprised. Could he still meet acquaintances here? Lin Yi said that he just met yesterday. But you should know him better. Ji Tianyan hurriedly fixed his eyes. These two people were indeed very familiar with each other. I can't say that I know the roots, but I know everything about it. The people who came were none other than Ji Tianyan's parents. The atmosphere became awkward again, and the 4 people looked at each other with 4 pairs of eyes. Ji's father lived up to expectations and broke the deadlock. He asked playfully, Are you done? When Ji Tianyan heard this, his face immediately burned like fire. Hurriedly asked when Father Ji came. Father Ji said frankly that he had been answering for a while, and he didn't dare to bother when he saw that the curtain was drawn on your door. Ji Miu on the side also offered divine assistance. Silly girl, what are you shy? It's not 17 or 8. This is a normal need of adults, and your father and I both understand. Ji Tianyan was speechless. This was really a misunderstanding of his father's shoulder of the misunderstanding. The misunderstanding was big. She hurriedly explained that she was just changing clothes, but Ji's mother didn't care about this explanation. In order to give the two of them enough road for two, Father Ji hurriedly pulled away his gossipy wife. Before Ji's mother left, she didn't forget to tell Lin Yi, and he didn't treat you as an outsider. Grandpa will celebrate his 80th birthday the day after tomorrow. You must come. Lin Yi scratched his head in embarrassment and agreed, but I thought in my heart that the hospitality of this old couple was really a racist enthusiasm. The old couple whispered and laughed as they left the residence. Only the 2 people with a confused face were left. Lin Yi pondered for a long time and squeezed out a sentence. Mr. Ji, are we still going? Ji said shyly. Go. Of course you have to go. Soon, the two arrived at the pre-agreed meeting at Zhongtong Hailuwei. Lin Yi got out of the car first, and the gentlemen helped Ji open the door. Don't forget to tell the other party to give yourself a 5-star praise, and then place an order after the party, and come to pick her up. Ji Tianyan was a little unhappy when he heard it. Although scumbags like sweet words, they are generally good sounding. Unlike him, who knows to be praised all day long, Lin Yi didn't have any intention of coaxing Ji to pour his face. He replied innocently, "There is no way. Just point to this bowl of rice." After speaking, Lin Yi waved goodbye to Ji Tianyan and watched her enter the venue. At this time, Lin Wei went online again. Lin Yi achieved the corresponding achievement, rewarded 200,000 proficiency, completed half of the occupation, and rewarded part of the shares of the taxi company. Lin Yi was overjoyed. How many orders did he run? Went directly from a wage earner to a boss. Good things are still to come, Lin Wei told him. The market value of the taxi company in Yangcheng is more than 50 billion, and if Lin Yi transfers his equity, he will directly earn 100 billion. Lin Yi listened and directly put his hand on Lin Wei's shoulder. He feels that with the current income, it seems that it is okay not to cash out. It is better to put it in the company and get a dividend of hundreds of millions every year. Lin Wei told Lin Yi that he was halfway through the completion of his career. After completing another 35%, he can start a new class, and when the career completion reaches 100%, there will be more generous rewards waiting for him. Lin Yi's eyes kept shining after listening. At this time, Lin Yi was full of fighting spirit and enthusiasm. He couldn't wait to urge Lin Wei to send him an order. As he was talking, the system assigned a new order to Lin Yi from the Starbucks Bun Store to the list of Kyushu Pavilion villas. Lin Yi couldn't help but sigh again. If people go smoothly, no matter how smooth it is, the route connecting the single is smooth in this way. What is 1 million in 3 years? 100 million can run out. At the same time, the royal sister who was scratching her head at the mobile phone on the other side was Lin Yi's new passenger Su Yan. Lin Yi kicked the accelerator and galloped to Su Yan's side. The wave of air generated by the sudden brake rolled up Su Yan's already short skirt. Lin Yi saw someone and asked tentatively, "Are you Miss Su with tail number 0389? Su Yan saw that the car he picked up was still a top-level sports car. I was taken aback. Could it be that I was dressed up too well today? So much so that he was targeted by the rich second generation. Then he said lazily, "Hurry up and get in the car. I don't have much time left." Su Yan was so excited that he couldn't help himself. This rich second generation was so active. Su Yan obediently got into the car and buckled his seat belt. After all, the rich second generation drives very fast. Then, Su Yan took the initiative to introduce himself. After that, he also asked Lin Yi where he wanted to take him. Lin Yi was a little speechless for a moment. "Isn't it the car you called?" Su Yan couldn't believe that taxis have reached the skyline these days, soliciting with a top-of-the-line sports car. "I don't believe it," Lin Yi said. "Believe it or not, I am a luxury service." After Su Yan heard this, he directly changed his face, but was happy, thinking that he had met the 5th king of diamonds, who turned out to be a camel shanzi pulling a cart. Lin Yi didn't bother to take care of her, and kicked the accelerator towards the goal. Only the non-stop noise in Su Yan's mouth was left on the road. "You better drive slowly. You can't afford to break it." Lin Yi was instantly furious. "This is my car. I can drive a bumper car, and I'm happy that money is hard to buy." Su Yan laughed at him on the spot. "Don't blow it. You think you get me by saying that?" Unexpectedly, Lin Yi asked rhetorically, "Which eye of yours saw me blowing?" Su Yan used all his life learning to despise Lin Yi. "You're a stinky worker. Stop blowing it." Lin Yi is the least fond of hearing this, and the working people are the most glorious. "Aren't you Su Yan also a part-time worker? What is the upper-class sister here? I am 100 million. Look at your strength." The words of the two of them also became more and more noisy. Su Yan said, "Although I work part-time, I am more noble than you. You are not even worthy of lifting my shoes, and I am tired of talking to you." Lin Yi couldn't bear it anymore and braked suddenly. An emergency brake was given to Pagani, who was galloping, looking at Su Yan, who was still arrogant just now. He had already been strangled by the seat belt and the mask of pain at this moment. "Do you break drywall?" Lin Yi couldn't bear it anymore. "If you are a cow, you will buy your own car and drive. A Lao Tzu will not serve." Then, Lin Yi pushed the car door and scolded Su Yan loudly. "Roll over, baby cow, my Ave passenger." Su Yan, who was thrown on the road, was furious, and had dared to provoke the little fairy. "I'll give you a bad review complaint package for you to enjoy slowly." When Lin Yi heard it, "Who did you really take as a master? You scolded me for giving me a bad review." There is a top monitoring on this car, and the sound and picture are uploaded to the background synchronously to see how you can successfully complain. As soon as the words fell, Lin Yi rode into the dust and blasted Su Yan's face. Su Yan was so angry that he jumped to his feet. "You wait for me." After turning his head, Lin Yi returned to Kyushu Pavilion. Almost at the same time, a phone received a reminder of a bad review. Lin Yi took out his mobile phone and looked at it, and sure enough, it was the best passenger just now. Lin Yi, who is a good gentleman, couldn't help but expose his foul language. This woman is really a talent. Unexpectedly, the regional agent of the taxi company also called at this time. Sure enough, it was a phone call from Xinxi to ask about the guild. Across the phone, Lin Yu was scolded by the agent for splitting his head and covering his face. If there is a next time, he will directly deduct your deposit. Lin Yu said arrogantly, "Whatever you want. What money did I send you?" Seeing that it did not apologize at all, the agent directly threatened to cancel the operation qualification. Lin Yu immediately calmed down, and he argued, "You will directly revoke my operating qualification without investigating the situation." It's a pity that the agent is impatient and doesn't want to talk to him anymore. Hung up the phone directly. Lin Yi was very depressed. Sure enough, prosperity must decline. Strange things happen every year, and this year's big explosion